I know I just made a video, but I'm coming back because I'm looking on YouTube on all this stuff about aliens, flying saucers, the world's going to end, the 21st. Who do we serve? Who do you serve? I can tell you, I serve God, the one and only God, Yahweh. I serve Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, because I am part of His body. So I am one with Him, and He is one with me. Now, yes, I've warned of things going to happen, and I really believe that's going to happen. And some of it's already happening. We can see it happening out on the east and the west coast, and down in Louisiana, the hole's growing bigger, and more than likely it probably will blow. I mean, if you got methane gas that's coming up, and the land is falling in, something's going to happen that will set that methane gas off, and there will be the biggest explosion that the United States has ever seen. Am I going to tell everybody around that area to run and move? Well, no. You do what you feel led to do. Only thing I can say to you, if it happens, please have your heart right with Yeshua. Be covered by His blood. Because if this thing happens and your life is taken, but don't you know you still won't perish? You won't. You go straight to His arms. And no, I wouldn't want it exploding right underneath me, but if it did, you know, I have total faith that He will take care of me, either in life or death. It doesn't matter. If in life I'm away from Him, but in death I will be with Him. I think Paul gave some scriptures sort of to that, you know. So when I tell you I don't fear, I don't fear. I don't. The midriff fault will more than likely will have a big earthquake again. Probably even worse than, especially if that thing in Louisiana goes, even worse. And I tell you that war over in the Middle East is already happening. It's just going to grow worse. I told you Syria had those things that Hussein had. You know, the chemical warfare and all of that stuff. It was shipped down there. In fact, it was showed on TV where they was showing these things going across the desert to Syria, and one of the reporters happened to remark, I wonder what they're carrying. Could they be carrying the chemical weapons? I believe they were. In fact, there's been some that has said yes, that's what they were doing. That know more about this than even I. So, and it doesn't do any good to run and stick your head in the sand like an ostrich, because, hey, you may not see what's coming, but it's still coming. And when it hits you broadside, you're still going to die. If you know what I mean. You know, people would rather stick their head in the sand than face the truth, and may repent and give their heart to Jesus and let his covering cover you, so that when these days and these things happen, that whether you live or die, you will be preserved. You will not perish. This is important. I really feel strongly to have put this video out right now, today, because there's some things coming up. They really are. Why do you think that most of this confusion and confliction is going on? Not only on YouTube, everywhere else, you know. YouTube just a little bit. People going after people in the name of God and hurting them. You know, when the Crusaders went over there, because of the Catholic Church, actually, the Catholic Church, that's who the Crusaders was. And they were encouraged to go and to fight. And they said, well, if you die, you know, you'll go straight to heaven. Kind of sounds like the Muslims, what they teach now. If you become a martyr, you'll go straight to heaven. The way you go straight to heaven is if you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior, born again and covered by his blood. Because he did pay that price for you, okay? So, when somebody comes up to you in the name of Jesus, in the name of the one and only true God, Yahweh, some call him Jehovah. It's, you know, I mean the real God. If they come to you and they're tearing you apart, then you really need to just block them and walk away. Unsubscribe to them. Block them. Don't talk to them. As I told you in the other video, what is said in the scriptures, not to have anything to do with them. Don't. Don't listen to them. If they want to preach, they can preach to their own little crowd that's out there going, hooray, 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 you're telling the truth, when they're not. Yes, we have all sinned. And I'm going to make it very plain. If you're having sex outside of a marriage of a man and woman, I'm going to make that plain too, you're sinning. That's the scriptures. Not my words, but God's words. You know, it's his rules and regulations, not mine. He was the one that created us. He's the one that says, you're mine, I made you, I created you in my image, and this is how I want you to walk. This is how I expect you to act. This is how I expect you to talk. This is what I expect you to do, for I am your creator. I am your God, the only one. And if you choose not to listen and obey, then he also said that he would chastise you. And because of Satan's fall, because, see, he was an archangel, a covering angel, a good friend of God, and he let pride enter his life, and he fell. So God had to make a place for him. And that's why hell was made, specifically for Satan and all his angels. But he also says to us, if we do not obey him, then he has to put that curse that he put on Satan on us. And that's where we go, to hell. Now, some people have told me, I don't want to serve that kind of God. Well, that's fine, but still, you don't have to serve him. Free will's right there. You know, you don't have to stop sinning. Go ahead. But there's a price for that. I want you to know it. There's a price for that sin. And he's already pronounced it. And so therefore, by him speaking the word, that he will not tolerate this, and if you do it, then you go to hell. Plain, simple, that's how it is. And in other words, we force God's hand. We force him to do what he's already said he will do. So if you really prefer to sin and live in stuff like that, well, go ahead. You don't need my permission, and you sure is not going to get God's permission, so you have to do it because you want to. And that is why judgment is come upon this earth. Now, I know you don't understand it, but God in all his mercy is judging this earth so that the world will see that he is God. That he is God, that he is the only God, that he is the creator. It's like he's standing there saying, wake up, come up out of your sleep. My judgment is upon you because of sin. Sin that we keep permitting into our lives and into our children's lives and our children's children's life, putting that same curse upon them repeatedly instead of seeking his will and praying for him to cleanse us and break all those curses. You know, he can do it. But everybody that's worried about this and that, and yeah, I've taught on way back, you'd have to go way back there, about how I believe that the fallen angels will be let loose again and will come up, and that Satan will be kicked loose, you know, and from heaven and come down to earth. And I really believe that it's going to be some kind of a spectacular event to draw mankind's attention to them. And they've done it once. In fact, I think they've done it about two times. But yeah, I believe they'll come back. You can call them UFOs. You can call them whatever. But why should I be afraid of them? I know who they are. And I'm not going to fear, because the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach is my covering. I'm just not going to be afraid. There's only one thing they can do to me, and that's kill this body. And the minute they kill this body, I'm going home. You know what I mean? I'm going home. There's many things that mankind are doing to mankind that's very evil. Whether you see it or not, it's still going on. But you can't fret about it. You can't change it. Only pray. See, God's the only one that can change what's going on here on earth. And he's going to in time. And he's going to cleanse this earth with fire. It plainly speaks of that. Go to John 1 and 2, go to Peter 1 and 2, go to James. You can plainly read how this earth is going to be totally cleansed. All the sin, all the crap that mankind has let and permitted to happen here on earth against God's will is going to be cleansed off of here. All the pornography, all the sexual sins, all the hate, all the bitterness, all the warring, all the things that the false witnessing, the murders, everything is going to be cleansed in a moment of time by a pure fire, a cleansing fire that will cleanse this whole earth. Now, I don't know if anybody watched any of the Star Trek movies, but I watched the one where I think it was the Wrath of Kong or something. Anyway, they have this machine that they can set off in a planet, and this, when it sets off, it's like a fire that goes around this planet, and in it rejuvenates. I mean, if you remember when Spock got killed, they put him in this coffin-like thing and shot him down to this planet that had just been rejuvenized, and what it did to him, it rejuvenized him, but he became a baby again. He grew up again. I mean, you know, and later on in some other movies, they go and find him and all that stuff. But anyway, when I was watching that and I seen this thing go off and I seen this fire sweep around this earth or this planet, I went, wow, that's just exactly what's going to happen. The cleansing fire of God is going to come and hit this planet and cleanse it totally. And it says that our works will be burned. If they're not of God, they will be burned up. If they are truly of God, they will stand. People are looking at the wrong thing, okay? They're looking at things. They're looking for governments to cure all the ills, to take care of the mess. But yet they don't want to do no change in themselves, because if they did, they'd run to Jesus Christ. Because He's the only one protecting us. So when a disaster happens, like out in the East Coast, like I said once before, it rains on the just and the unjust. The only difference between the two is the unjust that die in this mess, they have a different place to go than the just. And I'm not trying to condemn or I'm trying to warn, please, people. Bad things are going to happen more. We need to prepare our hearts for Him. And not worry about what is coming or what may come, but put Him here in our heart. And concentrate our mind on Him. Concentrate on Him. And in these days of trouble, He will cover us. You know, He took care of Israel's needs. I mean, if you want to know how God really can take care of people, you need to realize that God fed Israel in the desert. Now, they were in a desert. A desert. It wasn't like in the forest with all the things that you can pick up out of the woods and eat. You're in a desert. Desert. All you got is sand upon sand upon sand. No water, no food. God fed them. He gave them water to drink. Their clothes did not grow old, and their shoes did not wear out. All the time they were wandering in the desert, till the time they went into the promised land. If he can take care of a multitude, you know, kind of like Jesus when he fed the 5,000 with just but a few fragments of fish, a few fishes and bread. Not only once, he did this twice to a group of people. With nothing, same as nothing, he fed them. He will do the same for us. And sometimes we have to go through things and be tested of things to learn how to walk closer to him. Because you may say, well, I do this for him and I do that for him and I'm, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, what has he done for you? Everything. So there in your moment of distress, you can't give up. See, I know how it is to be out there, have no food, nowhere to go and lay my head. And I'm not saying this to make people feel sorry for me, because I want you to feel sorry for me. I want you to know that God, Jesus Christ, took care of me. He did. Every day I always had something to eat. It could come along. There was places I could go get water to drink. And finally somebody took me in. So, there's a lot of things that in this 68 years I have been through. And I know how it feels to get discouraged. I know how it feels to get disappointed. And I know how it feels to get depressed. I know this. Been through it. But every time Jesus has brought me through, and in bringing me through these testings, spiritually I have grown. Now, did I like going through them? No. But yet, they were blessings in disguise. So, if you're going through something really bad, which I know people are on the East Coast and other places, even over in Syria where people are dying because of war, don't ever give up on Jesus. If you know him, he will take care of you and provide. And at the end of this journey, you will find a growth spiritually that you would have never had any other way. Because right now, you're having to totally 100% rely on him and others. And whether you can see it right now at this moment, he is taking care of you. He really is. It may not be exactly the way you want him to take care of you, but he is. So, I just feel strongly led. Quit worrying about aliens coming down to earth. Quit worrying about all the stuff that may and could and probably will happen. seek Jesus. And don't listen to heresies or things that people biting at you and tearing you apart, because even if you don't believe in God, there is a God. And He loved you as much as He loved me. That's why He sent His Son. And whether you ever believe in Him, I know one day you will see Him. I just pray that you realize that before you see Him in all your doubt. That is going to be the most horriblest time in your whole life, when you realize you're standing before God Himself in judgment. That will be the most horriblest moment in your whole entire existence. So, I pray that if you're listening to this, that you give your heart to Yeshua HaMashiach. Don't be worrying about stuff, but concentrate on Him, and He is taking care of you. Father, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, I turn this video over to you, and let your praise be in the name of Yeshua. And I'll mention this, it come to mind. I heard a video, George Bush saying, the New World Order with law and order. We've already got law and order in God. All we have to do is live it. We don't need a new law and order, a man that will kill us. I mean, man, when they lay out some of these strict laws and orders that they're planning on doing, and if you don't obey, you will die. You will go down to a camp, if you're here in America and probably other places, just like the Jews went into the concentration camps. We will go into camps because of the New World Order of law and order of mankind. So, which do I'd rather have? New World Order, man's law and order. God's righteousness and salvation, His law and order and mercy and love. There you go. Your choice.